Imagine standing in Philadelphia in 1777, watching a group of revolutionaries argue over a single piece of cloth. Their choice would come to define a nation, yet history nearly turned out very differently. There were flags with pine trees, rattlesnakes, even a strange red cross borrowed from Britain. For a moment, the American banner we know today almost never happened. What symbols might have flown over the White House if one vote had shifted? If you love your mother, hit like. If you love your father, hit share. And if you love both your mother and father, subscribe and stay for the full story. In the spring of 1777, the Continental Congress was fighting for more than independence. It was fighting to define an identity. The war with Britain raged on, and the colonies needed a banner to rally behind. Inside Independence Hall, delegates debated furiously. Should the flag echo England's heraldry or break completely from it? At that moment, American troops were already flying a patchwork of emblems. The pine tree flag, hues of New England, the coiled "Don't Tread on Me" rattlesnake, and the Grand Union, which bizarrely combined colonial stripes with Britain's Union Jack. Each design carried meaning: defiance, unity, or an olive branch to the crown. Among the craftsmen called to shape this new emblem was Betsy Ross, a Philadelphia upholsterer reputed to have stitched the first prototype. But there were others too. Francis Hopkinson, a New Jersey delegate and artist, who claimed credit for the stars and stripes. Their ideas clashed in a quiet war of ink, thread, and politics. The stakes were enormous. A flag wasn't just fabric, it was a statement of who Americans were and what they dared to become. Behind closed doors, the future of the Republic's identity balanced on a handful of sketches and the courage to sever old ties. As debates deepened, the colonies remained divided over how radical their flag should be. Conservatives favored keeping the Union Jack in one corner, arguing it would remind Britain that reconciliation was still possible. Radicals scoffed. They wanted nothing of the empire that had taxed and bled them. Hopkinson, with a keen sense for symbolism, proposed a bold vision: 13 alternating red and white stripes, one for each colony, and 13 white stars scattered across a blue field. The arrangement spoke of equality and constellations, a new constellation of states. Yet rival sketches circulated: flags with golden eagles, flags ringed with laurel wreaths, even banners depicting scenes from the Revolution. Some committees championed the rattlesnake, that fierce emblem of colonial resistance, its coiled body ready to strike. Others argued for a pine tree, recalling the hardy forest that had fueled colonial ships. Meanwhile, outside the halls of Congress, soldiers raised whatever flags they could find. At Brandywine, regiments marched beneath the Grand Union's mismatched symbols. At sea, privateers flew the "Appeal to Heaven" pine tree flag as they battled British frigates. The very sight of American banners became a gamble, friend or foe. But danger pressed closer. British forces threatened to retake Philadelphia. Time was running out for Congress to fix an emblem that could unify troops and civilians alike. On June 14, 1777, after weeks of private discussion, Congress adopted a resolution that the flag of the 13 United States be 13 stripes, alternate red, and white, that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Still, even this wording left room for debate. How should the stars be arranged? Circles, rows, or a scattering across the sky? Hopkinson submitted invoices for his design, but Congress, ever frugal, delayed payment, leaving the authorship of America's banner shrouded in mystery. The turning point came when an early prototype, reputedly stitched by Betsy Ross, was unfurled in a quiet Philadelphia workshop. Its crisp stripes and starry canton captured the balance between rebellion and unity. For those present, it felt less like cloth and more like destiny. Had Congress chosen differently, history might show a snake above every federal building or a pine tree waving over the Capitol. But on that humid June day, the delegates settled on the stars and stripes. When word of the decision spread, soldiers cheered. Ships hoisted the new flag with pride as they sailed into perilous waters. Across the colonies, townsfolk gathered to glimpse the symbol of a fragile but daring republic. The flag was imperfect. Its stars varied in shape, its stripes uneven. Yet it carried an unshakable message. 13 voices could speak as one. The flag of 1777 would undergo many transformations as the nation expanded, but its heartbeat remained the same: stripes for courage and purity, stars for the ever-growing constellation of states. Each alteration, from 15 stars to 50, testified to a story still being written. By choosing the stars and stripes, the founders gave Americans more than an emblem. They offered a promise that liberty could endure, stitched together by diversity and hope. Today, few remember how fragile that choice once was, how close the United States came to rallying behind serpents or trees instead of stars. Every time the flag ripples in the wind, above schools, battlefields, or lunar soil, it whispers of that afternoon in 1777, when men risked treason not just for independence, but for an identity bold enough to last centuries. History isn't inevitable. It's sown by human hands, debated in cramped rooms, and decided by those brave enough to imagine the impossible. So next time you see the American flag, remember, it could have been something else entirely. And if you love your mother, hit like. If you love your father, hit share. And if you love both your mother and father, subscribe for more untold stories of history.